Hello friends, today we are going to continue chapter number 16, Economic Liberalization and Globalization, lecture number 7. Friends, we had started this chapter. We discussed from the very beginning itself the importance of economic development, since we were learning the previous chapter as well, that why each and every country aims at economic development, why economic development is necessary for any country. Friends, the growth of economy of any country is very much necessary for its development. As we all know that money plays a very important role. Economy of any country plays a very important role for its development. If a country wants to develop, its economic growth is very much necessary. If the people of that particular country wants to live a proper standard of life, a high standard of life, then obviously the high economic growth of that country is necessary. Friends, when we discussed about the economic development, we discussed that at the time when we got independence, that was in the year 1947, our economic condition was very weak. We were almost economically ruined. At that time, we were totally dependent on the other countries, even at the agriculture sectors. Friends, we had to import lots of things from the other countries. Our economical condition was not so good that we can export to other countries. But yes, our efforts of our government were very much to increase the economic development, to increase the growth of the economy of our country. Obviously, at the time we got independence, the rules and regulations for establishing industry to do trade in India was made very strict, because already we had experienced that in the past Britishers came here for the purpose of trading, but instead of trading, they established their colonies over here. They started ruling on us, and they almost ruled for around about 190 years in India. So friends, it was just due to trading that they entered into India. So now, our country did not want to repeat that mistake again, and that is why they made certain restrictions and controls towards the establishment of industries, especially for the foreign countries, for the foreign companies to come into India and invest their money in India. But friends, after we got independence, to give economic growth to our economy, in the year 1951, our country started the 5-year plans to give the boost to our economy. But again, our country did not succeed as they had targeted. They did not achieve that kind of success that they had thought about. So due to that, they started the thorough investigation regarding the failure of these 5-year plans. And after investigation of these all things, they decided to make some changes in the economic policy of our country. And due to all this reason, it was in the year 1991. It was the year 1991 when they made certain changes in the economic policy, in our industrial policy. They brought liberalization, privatization and globalization into effect, due to which they thought of giving the boost to our economy. Friends, we discussed about all of these three things, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization, in our previous lectures. We discussed about the liberalization, that in liberalization the reductions in the policies, the reductions in the controls and the restrictions of the government to the private sectors were reduced. Reductions was given in the establishment of new industries. Now the private sectors were able to enter into the public sectors. Certain investors were able to invest their money. They were able to establish new industries in the rural areas and the backward areas, due to which employments also increased. They made certain policies very liberal. They removed certain restrictions. They also let the private sector enter into these sectors, except the 18 sectors, except railways, atomic and defense. Now the private sectors were able to enter these sectors. After that, we also learned about the privatization, friends, in which we clearly discussed that in privatization now, what happened? All the industrial units that were under the government ownership or that were managed by the government, either the government started giving the ownership or government started sharing the management with the private sectors. So now the private sector was able to enter into the public sectors. Certain public sectors were now opened for these private sectors. This was done due to increasing the efficiency of this public sector. Due to the emergence of this private sector, the efficiency of public sectors also increased, the productions of necessary things increased. Here, the productions of the required thing started increasing. Infrastructure of the country started increasing. And friends, lots of changes came in the economy of our country. After that, friends, we also discussed about the globalization, in which we clearly discussed that the connecting of one country's economy with the currency of other country's economy, that is called globalization. India's product can be purchased in the foreign country, that is Australia or America, and the product of America or Australia that can be purchased from India. That is possible due to this globalization. For example, we can see lots of things, lots of products that is made in India, but lots of people residing outside India, they purchase from the other countries the same Indian product. That is possible due to globalization. Due to globalization, now India was able to withstand in the competition with the developed countries. Even it was due to this globalization that our foreign currency increased. Friends, the doors were opened for the traders to export their product to other countries as well. The exchange of currency started increasing. The relationship between the two nations increased due to this globalization. Friends, we also discussed about WTO, World Trade Organization, which was established on 1st January 1995 by the member nations of UN. The ultimate goal of establishing this WTO to establish the mutual relation and solve the disputes related to trade between the two different nations. Friends, we clearly understood that the objective of WTO was to solve all the problems that are coming in the way of trading between two nations, and to increase the relationship between the two countries. Friends, we also discussed in the previous lecture about sustainable development, that what is sustainable development. We discussed that sustainable development is to make development in such a way that we do not waste the resources and we save some of the other resources for the future generation as well. We discussed how at the present time we are making development sacrificing the needs of the future generation. We do not care about the needs of the future generation. Obviously, the development is necessary for any country, but the pace in which we are developing, the pace in which we are exploiting these natural resources. If we continue the same speed of the development and wasting the natural resources, there might be possibility that in the future, our future generation might not be able to enjoy the luxurious life that we are living presently. So friends, we discussed about the sustainable development, that obviously we have to make development, but we have to make the development in such a way that we keep these natural resources preserved and do the development that these natural resources are not exhausted. Friends, today we will discuss about the topic, that is the strategy for this sustainable development. What strategy should be made? What planning should be made for this sustainable development? So let us understand about the strategy of sustainable development. Let us understand about the strategy of sustainable development. Here it is said that when we talk about this strategy of sustainable development, the renewable natural resources like cultivable farms, forests, water, some of the renewable natural resources like cultivable farm, forest, water, etc. should be used in such a way. If we talk about these renewable resources, these all renewable resources should be used in such a way that their natural essence does not get destroyed. Here it is said that the renewable natural resources like the cultivable farms, forest, water, etc. should be used in such a way that the natural essence should not be destroyed. If we talk about the non-renewable resources like coal, minerals, non-renewable resources like coals, minerals, petroleum, etc. should be used judicially. They should be used judicially. Here, the non-renewable resources that are available with us, like cultivable farm, forest, water, etc., they should be used in such a way that their natural essence does not get destroyed. As well as with it, non-renewable resources that are available like coals, minerals, petroleum, they should be also used very sparingly or very judicially. It should be used in a very planned way. So here we can clearly see the importance. Industries should be established at such a location. Industries should be established at such a location which can reduce transportation cost. Industry should be established at such a location which can reduce transportation cost and hence can save petroleum and other resources. Friends, here it is said industries also should be set up in such a nearby location that the transportation can be easy, the transportation can reduce, the cost of the transportation cost also can be reduced, as well as they can save the non-renewable resources like petroleum and other resources, they can be saved. So industries should be set up in the nearby location. Then strong efforts should be made to achieve. Strong efforts should be made to achieve eco-friendly development. Here it is said that strong efforts should be made by each and every people to achieve this eco-friendly development. So eco-friendly development should be made so that we can achieve success in saving these valuable natural resources. Friends, here it is said efforts should be made to make efforts, maximum efforts should be made and attempts should be made. Efforts and attempts should be made to make maximum, should be made to use maximum multiple use of resources. Means for a single resource, multiple maximum use should be made of the single resource. If that resource can be reused, we should reuse it. Means the multiple usage of the same resource can be should be done so that it can not be wasted. For example, if we take about irrigation project is used for more than one purpose. For example, irrigation project is used for more than one purpose. That is producing electricity, flood control, etc. Means the irrigation project is used for several purposes. So effort should be made to use the resource for multiple things. Like the irrigation project is used for more than one purpose. For it is used for producing electricity. Also it is used to control flood. Natural resources should not be wasted. Natural resources should not be wasted. Systematic methods should be developed. systematic methods should be developed to see that industrial waste, systematic method should be developed to see that industrial waste and other poisonous chemicals they release are disposed properly. Friends, even here it is said that natural resources should not be wasted. Systematic methods should be developed for the industries to see that this industrial waste and the poisonous chemicals that are releasing in the water, that should be released and are disposed with proper planning so that natural resources should not get wasted. Then similarly, slums the slum areas, the slums should be controlled and attempts should be made, and also attempts should be made to, and for this if we are talking about the slums, effort should be made to develop proper waste and also to develop proper waste disposal system in slums. Even in the slum area, effort should be made so that the disposable waste should be disposed in a proper way. So disposable systems should be made very proper in these slum areas as well. Use of non-conventional. If we talk about the use of non-conventional energy resource, like wind energy, solar energy, wind energy should be encouraged. Friends, here it is said that similarly slums area should be controlled. Along with it, even attempts should be made to develop dispose proper waste. Disposal systems in slum area should be improved. Use of non-conventional energy resources means that is renewable energy resources that we can renew again and again. Such kind of renewable resources like solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, such kind of energies that we can renew again and again should be improved. They should be encouraged so that we do not waste the non-renewable resources, and wherever there is possibility we should use the alternate of these non-conventional energy resource instead of conventional energy resource, so that we can save these natural resources, save these precious natural resources that can be used in the future generation. By doing all these strategies, by using these strategies, by implementing all these things, there is the possibility that we will save these natural resources for the future generation. And even after implementing this strategy, of this sustainable development, we can preserve these natural resources for our future generation, and there might be possibility that even our future generation can spend the luxurious life and can use the luxurious benefits that we are using at the present time. So friends, you might have understood about the strategy of this sustainable development. We learn about another topic in our next lecture. Thank you.